The Witch in the Woods. The Witch. Tom was always up for an adventure. At 16, he was fearless, or at least he thought he was. When his friends dared him to take the shortcut through Blackwood Forest at night, he didn't hesitate. Everyone in town knew the stories about the forest, whispers of a witch who lived deep within, luring travelers to their doom. But Tom wasn't one to believe in old tales. The night was cold and the forest darker than he had imagined. The trees loomed like giant skeletal hands reaching out to grab him. As he walked deeper, the path grew narrower, the underbrush thicker, until he almost lost his way. Suddenly, he noticed a faint orange glow flickering through the trees. Curious, Tom stepped off the path and followed the light. As he got closer, he saw it, an old woman sitting by a small fire in a clearing. Her back was hunched, and her face was hidden by a tangle of gray hair. She seemed to be mumbling something under her breath, her voice low and raspy. Tom hesitated. The stories of the witch flashed through his mind, but he shook them off. It's just an old woman, he told himself. Maybe she's lost or needs help. He stepped into the clearing, the crackling of the fire the only sound in the eerie silence.
"Excuse me, ma'am, are you okay?"
Tom called out. The woman didn't respond. She just kept mumbling, rocking back and forth in front of the fire. As Tom approached, he noticed something strange. The fire wasn't made of wood, it was burning on the ground itself, as if the earth had caught fire. The air around it was thick and heavy, carrying a scent he couldn't quite place, a mix of burning leaves and something rotten. The old woman suddenly stopped rocking. Slowly, she turned her head to face him. Tom's heart skipped a beat. Her eyes were completely black, like twin voids that seemed to swallow the light from the fire. Her mouth twisted into a cruel smile, revealing teeth that were sharp and yellowed. "You shouldn't be here, boy," she hissed, her voice echoing in a way that made the hairs on the back of Tom's neck stand on end. He took a step back, but his feet felt rooted to the spot. The old woman began to stand, her movements jerky and unnatural, as if her bones were creaking with the effort. The shadows cast by the fire grew longer, twisting and curling around her like living things. Tom tried to speak, but no sound came out. Panic gripped him as the old woman stretched out a bony hand toward him, her fingers impossibly long and thin. The fire flared up, casting a hellish red light over the clearing. "Come closer," she whispered, her voice sweet and venomous at the same time. "I have something to show you." Tom's mind screamed at him to run, but his body wouldn't respond. The old woman's eyes seemed to pull him in, deeper and deeper into their inky blackness. He felt as if he were falling, being drawn into a cold, dark abyss. With every ounce of strength he had left, Tom tore his gaze away and turned to run. The forest was a blur as he sprinted back the way he came, branches clawing at his skin, the sound of his own breath ragged in his ears. He didn't stop until he burst out of the trees and into the safety of the open field beyond. Gasping for breath, he dared to look back. The forest stood silent, the darkness impenetrable. But just before he turned away, he saw it, a pair of black eyes watching him from the edge of the trees, and the faint echo of a whisper carried on the wind. "I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting." Tom never spoke of what happened in Blackwood Forest that night, but he never took a shortcut through the woods again, and every time he passed by the edge of the trees, he couldn't shake the feeling that those black eyes were still watching, waiting for him to return.